SunnySide is a farming life simulator game inspired by the Japanese countryside. You play as the new landowner of a farming plot, and while out and about, you accidentally uncover a mysterious drone-like creature named Sparky, and your adventure starts there. Thank you to the developers and publishers for giving us early access to the full release. Honestly, there are a lot of things you can do in this game, and there are a lot of challenges that come with it. While there weren't any deal breakers, the game is stunning. There are just some things that I wish I knew before starting my gameplay. In this video, we'll not only go through the different mechanics of the game, but dive deeper on how you can make the most out of your early gameplay as a beginner. We'll be discussing quick tips on accomplishing early quests, and specific things you need to know about each gameplay mechanic, from getting your tools, earning money, farming, and so much more. So you don't have to go through the same mistakes I did. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a cup of coffee, and let's jump into it. First up is getting your tools. Aside from the 3 tools that you acquire from the start, getting the others isn't as straightforward. One thing you should know in SunnySide is that there will be a ton of tutorial quests that span days, even weeks, depending on your gameplay. The game actually reminds you not to rush anything, so just take this guide as something to remove the anxiety of not knowing, especially since the game only unlocks certain features when you reach that part of the quest, but it will not specifically tell you how to do it. The first few tools will be called differently, but they are essentially your hoe, sickle, a hybrid of sickle and axe, and a pickaxe. As you progress through your quests, these will be given to you. As for the axe that can chop down hardwood, you would need to mine ore for that and have Ishikawa process it for you at Ishikawa's blacksmith. To do so, you would need to click that service button at his shop to access his service menu. Select the axe, and it will be ready for collection the next day. This took me quite a while to realize that I have to actually transact it there, as I was so used to triggering cutscenes and then just getting the tool. So don't be like me. Aside from your farm, you can find hardwood trees in the forest by the ranch here. It's usually those trees with squiggly trunks. Also, just a side tip, you can also forage a lot of berries and mushrooms here in case you don't want to stop bush by bush around town in your early days. Next is the fishing pole. You will trigger the subquest after getting the axe. And no worries, you don't have to do anything specific here. Fishing is pretty straightforward as well. What confused me though was how to equip the lure. I've managed to catch pretty decent selling fish, so I was getting by without it. So open the pack of lures, select the lure you want to equip, and place it in this circle by the fishing rod icon. And there you have it, the lure is equipped. This is the same thing for fertilizer. While it technically is a tool, we'll discuss it further alongside farming in SunnySide. What probably overwhelmed me the most was how big the world in SunnySide is and how slow my character is in walking. It took me a while to realize there was even sprinting here. To those who don't know, press shift while moving forward to go faster. And this actually also works with vehicles. The earliest ride you can unlock is the bike, which you will get from Gabe in the quest, The Kindness of Strangers. Just go through the subquests, then build a bicycle stand in front of your lot. If you're like me who doesn't have the best hand-eye coordination and keeps bumping into fences, walls, bridges, and stairs, unfortunately you will get this funny animation. To jump back up, just hit the spacebar, or the jump button if you're not using a keyboard. I have not experienced any negative effects on my character yet, but let me know if there are any. Easily my favorite part is that you can leave your vehicle anywhere and just summon it using the vehicle app when you're near a street. How convenient is that? Farming in SunnySide is based on real-life techniques, so it is a bit different from other games in the farming genre, like how you buy seeds. In this game, you order it online via the SunnySide app on your phone, and what I liked about it is that most seeds are actually available. The app is intuitive enough, and you can filter your farming level, season, and type of plant. And there's still a lot to choose from. Go for the ones that will fruit this season. Since this is ordering online, there are delivery options depending on when you want the order to arrive. I went for the next day delivery since I was broke in my first days and I couldn't afford the same day option. But I think I would have been fine with the economy with all the quests. Another thing that's different is the plot sizes. In this game, certain plants require specific plots. They're small, large, and patty. If you accidentally dig up a different plot, you can always fill it in. Do know that you cannot plant seeds or seedlings in plots smaller than the required plot size, so make sure to check before buying if you have enough ground at the start. The watering hose can only cover a limited area. And remember to aim when watering so you can save more water and help you save time in pumping more. You can trigger aim by holding down the right mouse button or its counterpart in controllers. Speaking of watering, always check the weather in the weather app or even in the journal app. In SunnySide, the weather in the morning could be different from the weather at night. So do check if it's going to rain at night so that you won't have to water that day. And my favorite part, the soil stays wet the next day if it rains at night. So it saves you 2 days of watering your farm. My not so favorite part, however, is when it's cloudy or misty in the evening because it gets too hard to see. If you've already met Sparky, you can turn on his flashlight as they follow you around. This is especially useful when you mine as well. Go to the inventory screen and you can toggle Sparky's light there. One thing I wasn't sure about until I caught it in the act was that critters can steal some of your crops, and that's where fences come in. The earliest and easiest you can build is the stick fences because you will get a lot of sticks. A lot. So make sure to surround your crops with a fence. This is also an easy way to level up your building skills. And then we have the fertilizer. You will unlock the quest for this after you complete the sting operation quest from Ryozo at the University Field Lab. So no, it won't be available right away at the garden center. When you do unlock it, remember to check out and consider the plant's fertilization consumption rate. Earning money is really easy in this game once you get the hang of it. You may have noticed that there's no shipping bin on your farm. There's 2 ways to sell your goods. First is via shops around town. Do take note that the shops will only buy items that are significant or similar to what they're selling. This means that the grocery store will only buy crops, some foraged items, even some fish, while the blacksmith will only buy ores and the like. So you would have to go around town to sell different types of items. One good thing though is that the shops don't have a limit on how much they can buy from you. Another way to sell your items is via the farmer's market, which occurs every 2 weeks. There will be a stall for you, and the items sold here are slightly higher than if sold directly to the shops. There can be slow days, so not all my items were sold, but there could also be busy days where you can sell more. But what items should we sell? Well, farming is pretty lucrative once the crops start growing. Gems from mining sell well, and even fishing. You can get a lot of fish in just a few hours a day in the river by your farm. How about on your first few days when those aren't available just yet? Forage. We've mentioned earlier that we can forage berries and mushrooms in the forest by the ranch. You can go through this road with berries lined up. As of this recording, time pauses at around 9 PM on the first day, so you can take advantage of that. And once you unlock the bike, you can also forage by the beach. You can get a lot of seaweed and kelp there. You would also need to donate these items at the Kashiwa Shrine, but more on that later. You can choose not to sell your foraged items and eat them instead, but you only really need a few per day to consume. Another unique thing in SunnySide is that your energy recovers over time, but only if your hunger bar is filled about 30%. The higher your hunger bar is filled, the faster the recovery rate of your energy. There are no negative effects if you do not eat. If the hunger bar reaches below 30%, then your energy will no longer recover for the day. So if you know that you will be traveling around, or know that you won't be using any more energy, it's totally fine not to consume anything anymore and just wait for the next day. There is no freshness or expiration system in this game after all. One thing to take note of is that food and drinks do different things when consumed. Food is straightforward and will fill your hunger meter. As for drinks, well, they give you extra energy and some will fill your hunger meter slightly. In SunnySide, the meals look delicious, so I was so excited for the cooking portion, although it could get a bit confusing. Your first stove will be given to you by Gabe alongside your bike, but you'll only get the cooking app from Hina the next day. Visit her restaurant and she'll give you her recipes. In this app, you can see the cookware and ingredients required. You can buy or order the cookware from Ishikawa's blacksmith. It does take some time getting used to. Place the cookware over the stove, turn the stove on, drag the ingredients here, press the play button and wait for it to cook. Once done, get your meal and turn off the stove. I'm actually pretty happy with the immersion in this game and very excited to try out more complex recipes. Oh, and remember to put away your cookware. I left mine on the stove and the next day it was gone. I had to replace it. So yeah, just like in real life, store it properly after every use. Not sure if this is a bug, but let me know in the comments below if you experienced this as well. Let's move on to the building or crafting part of the game. On your second day, Kat, the lovely strawberry seeds lady, will tell you about the drone that Hiro is working on that could assist you on your farm. Visit him and he will install it for you. And he'll tell you about blueprints from Philip from Hoshi Woodworks. The first major building that he will request of you is to fix the dilapidated tea shop by your farm where you first met Kat. Now, the list of materials will look overwhelming at first, but you will soon get used to it. As you go further along, most buildings like coops, hutches, and sheds will require almost similar materials and amounts. If you're not familiar with the items required for the tea shop, that's because these are job orders from both the blacksmith and woodworks. So visit their shops, click services, and take note of the price and how many raw materials you need for each. Click on the red arrow button at the lower right to open your to-do list. Getting the materials is pretty straightforward. You can get wood from your farm and the forest, iron and clay from the mines, and also by the riverside for clay, and sand from the beach using the bucket. If you have the money, I would actually recommend just buying it from the shops, like for the iron nails or screws. 1 iron for 1 nail or screw is just not worth it. There's many more other stuff you can make from iron. So acquire the raw materials and process them via the services of the blacksmith and woodworks. Similar to the axe, once you place the order, you can get it the next day no matter how big the order is. You can collect the stuff you ordered via the collection point, so there's no need to worry if the shop is closed for that day. Once you collect all the items, deposit them by the tea shop and it's time to build. Honestly, it gave me such a sense of achievement when I finally finished it. As for the drone app, it does a lot of other functions but will focus more on the editing of your farm. So press this button here. For the keyboard, its default is 2, and you can select and place the furniture you bought or even just the blueprints. Unfortunately, you can't place any outside your farm. And yes, I'm speaking for chests. The inventory system in this game is already pretty good. You start off with a lot of spaces, 24 for each section. Although the quick slot is only 6, but I find that I don't mind at all. The build station also comes with storage called cache, where you can put any of your items in. I have not triggered any limit of some sort yet, but know that if you place a lot of items, there will be a scroll down feature available. If you reached this part of the video, consider subscribing. We publish weekly news for cozy, farming and life sim games, as well as guides and quick tips to awesome games like SunnySide. It will also let us know if this video has been helpful. Now onto the battle system. Coming into the game, I expected battles, but what I did not expect were dungeons, for a lack of a better term. Unfortunately, the game will not tell you that you're about to go in one, just if you want to proceed further down the mines. What I assumed was just another area of the mines with some monster encounters here and there. But I was so far off. It was a large area teeming with monsters. So in my first venture, I did not come prepared at all. But since I was already there, I decided to proceed and explore a bit. And one thing to remember is the attacks you can dish out are limited. Let's rewind time a bit. Before you can access this dungeon, there will actually be some form of tutorial on how you can battle these monsters and a battle app that comes with it. You will use Ofuda to attack, but these are consumable. Ofuda packs can be found at the Kashiwa Shrine, and you can get multiples of these, so make sure to prepare when venturing into the dungeon. Aside from Ofuda, there's also Omikuji and Omamori available at the shrine, but you can only get 1 per day for both of them. You can compare the Omikuji as your deck, while the Ofuda are your cards. The Omikuji have different bonuses, so you can try your luck in the shrine. I know there are a lot of technical terms here, but just know that the battle system is fairly intuitive. It's turn-based, so it's pretty familiar to most of us. Just make sure to prepare all your consumables. There are also a lot of items in the dungeon as well, so make sure you have enough space in your inventory. By the way, you can get healing and support items at the clinic. And a quick exit from the dungeon is the return to last sleeping spot button, which you can access by pressing your escape key on the keyboard, or its counterpart via the controller. It will return you to your last sleeping spot. You may have noticed while you're going around town that you're gaining 2 XP from time to time and even leveling up in exploration. Well, SunnySide does have a skill tree as well, and you can access it via the oak tree in the Kashiwa Shrine. No mobile app for this one. You will unlock this as you go through the quest line and go back deeper into the caves with Sparky. You will see here multiple branches signifying the skills you can level up, and with it some abilities that you can unlock. There are multiple skills like exploration, farming, cooking, battle, and more. Once you reach certain levels, you can unlock abilities by making an offering at the Kashiwa Shrine. You can see here the abilities and the specific offering required, so you can check out which are easy to get and prepare for it. Learning these abilities is straightforward. Aside from most early resource gathering abilities, my favorite early ability to learn would be slow metabolism. That is exploration 5 and just shiitake mushrooms as an offering. The mushrooms can be found in the forest and even on your farm. Just go near tree stumps like these with mushrooms growing on the side. Another is Homesteader 1, which lets the hand pump pull twice as much water, saving you energy and time. You can learn this with crafting and building level 2 and a potato offering. Easy. From my experience so far, the specific item that's supposed to be offered just needs to be in your backpack. And once you've learned the ability, the offering just remains in your backpack so you can use it elsewhere, at least at this time of recording. And then we have the socialization part of the game. I quite like the villagers in SunnySide, and I love how they help each other out. I usually dread most tutorial quest lines, but in this game it's just so wholesome and fun. Maybe because we see a glimpse of their backgrounds and personalities in the storyline. And true to SunnySide fashion, you can check out details in the context of the Instant Messenger app. There are various hangouts in SunnySide and even in Higashi, the next town over. You can check out on your map what activities you can do with the villagers. And while you can romance them, it has been confirmed by the devs that there won't be any marriage feature in SunnySide. I don't mind that personally, as you can still get to hang out with them in many other activities, and I'm fine with that. Personalizing your gameplay should already be the norm, and I'm so glad that SunnySide offers this as well. You can access the settings using the escape key for the keyboard and its counterpart via the controller and click settings. Here, you can change the time or day of length. If you feel that it's too fast, you can always make it slower. Game mode can also be toggled between Cozy and RPG. Cozy has higher rates and RPG lower. I'm glad that it's not all or nothing, and you can choose which specific part of the game you can have a bit easier or harder. For me personally, I'm not that good in battles, so I would opt for it to be a bit easier. If your game lags or slows down way too many times, you can change the graphics settings here as well. You can choose which graphics quality you can have higher or lower. Another configuration that I usually play with is the accessibility settings. I get dizzy fast, and so does my device. So whenever there's any shaking or rotation, sometimes my device cannot keep up and makes a quick blur, which does not sit well with my eyes. So you can configure the settings here. If you know you're gonna be sprinting and aiming most of the time, just switch to toggle so there's no need to hold every time. SunnySide and its effects are stunning, but my device cannot keep up, so I just disabled it here, and my game actually works better. Overall, I'm really glad that you can personalize your gameplay in the level of detail that SunnySide has. Farming and life simulation games for me are all about unwinding and getting lost in immersive gameplay and stories. And in this videos, we're going into the latest news on cozy, farming and life simulation games, from new game announcements to full game launches, and highly anticipated updates of both upcoming and established titles. If you're into cozy farming games, you won't want to miss this. So click on the next video. And stay awesome, gamers!